You're on your phone at 2 a.m., not because you have something urgent to do. Just one more scroll, one more check. Your thumb knows where the heart icon is without looking. Tap, tap, tap. And it feels harmless. A tiny gesture, a digital nod. But then you pause for half a second longer than you meant to. Because you're not just liking something. You're participating in a system that has been training you quietly for years. Not with words, with rewards. And the strange part is this: nobody forced us into it. We volunteered, every day, for free. That's the magic of the like button. It doesn't feel like control. It feels like culture. People think the like button is just a reaction, a quick, nice, and you move on. But reactions don't stay reactions when they get counted. The moment Facebook turned approval into a number, it stopped being social. It became measurable. And once something is measurable, it becomes a goal, even if nobody says it out loud. Early on, the logic was simple. Post a photo, get likes. Post a joke, get more. Post something awkward, watch it die quietly in front of everyone. So you learn. Not in a dramatic way. In small edits you don't notice. Different caption, different angle, different timing. You start posting with one eye on the moment and the other eye on the scoreboard. Here's the important part. The reward isn't steady. Sometimes a post hits. Sometimes it doesn't. Even when you did the same thing. That unpredictability is what keeps you checking. It's the same reason people keep pulling a slot machine lever. Not because they're weak, because the system is built to feel unfinished until you refresh. And over time, the like button does something quieter than addiction. It starts shaping taste. You don't just ask, "What do I want to share?" You start asking, "What version of me gets approved?" Not every day, not consciously, but enough times that it sticks. And once it sticks, you don't need the platform to control you. You do the editing yourself. At first, the like button was sold as kindness, a way to show support without typing a whole comment, a way to connect. But the platform wasn't building a friendship tool. It was building a signal, a way to measure what you respond to, what you pause on, what makes you click, what makes you come back. Because attention is not a feeling in Silicon Valley. It's a resource. And when you can measure attention, you can sell it. You can optimize it. You can manipulate it. That's not conspiracy. That's business. So the like button became a sensor, not just for the post, for the person behind the screen. Your likes are not private thoughts. They're data, a trail of tiny decisions that tells the platform who you are, or at least who you can be predicted as. And prediction is power. Because if a system can predict your behavior, it can start shaping it. Not by telling you what to do, by controlling what you see next. That's not a feature. That's infrastructure. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. We didn't just start sharing moments. We started performing them. Not because we're fake, because the environment changed. Picture a group chat. Someone sends a photo. No one reacts. It lands like silence. Now picture the same photo with 5 hearts and a fire. Suddenly it feels validated. Same photo, different social reality. That's how the like button rewired communication. It turned expression into feedback, and feedback into status. You begin to learn what gets rewarded, and your brain does what brains do. It adapts. You don't think, "I'm chasing validation." You think, "I'm just posting." But you start choosing stories that feel safe, captions that sound confident, photos that look effortless. You post the vacation, not the argument, the gym selfie, not the burnout, the highlight, not the confusion. And slowly, You build a version of life that looks better than it feels. Not because you're lying, because the platform rewards a certain kind of reality, a reality that performs well. Now let's name one heavy term, just one. Dopamine loop. People throw that phrase around like it's a meme, but the idea is simple. Your brain loves rewards, especially unexpected rewards. If you get likes every time, it becomes boring. If you sometimes get likes, sometimes don't, your brain stays curious. It keeps checking, just in case. That's why you refresh. That's why you open the app without meaning to, not because you love social media. Because your nervous system learned a pattern. Post, wait, check. And the wait is the key. The wait creates tension. The tension creates attention. Then the reward drops. A like, a comment, a notification. Small enough to ignore, strong enough to pull you back. We call it engagement, like it's a hobby, but it's closer to conditioning. And the scariest part is how normal it feels. The like button also changed what content is. Before, content was something you made. Now, content is something that performs. You can feel it on a Monday morning. Someone posts a serious opinion. It gets nothing. Someone posts a hot take with a punchy line. It goes viral. And we all learn the lesson without anyone teaching it. Be sharper, be louder, be simpler, be more extreme, because extremes get reactions. The algorithm doesn't care if you're right. It cares if people respond. And the like button is the easiest response in the world. It turns scrolling into voting. Not a thoughtful vote, a reflex vote. And when millions of reflex votes decide what rises to the top, the culture starts tilting. Not toward truth, toward what triggers. That's not because people are stupid. It's because the system rewards speed over depth. You can't like nuance. Then something else happened. People realized the like button wasn't just social. It was financial. Brands started measuring it. Sponsors started demanding it. Jobs started asking for it. You didn't just have a personality, you had a personal brand. And suddenly, your online presence became a resume you update daily. Not officially, but socially. If you're a creator, likes are currency. If you're a regular person, likes still feel like proof you matter. And now the platform has a workforce it never hired. Millions of people producing content, optimizing captions, editing reels, timing posts, chasing trends. For what? For a digital reward. Sometimes money, yes, but often just numbers. And those numbers feel like identity. That's the trick. We don't just post for attention. We post to confirm we exist in the room. This is where a lot of conversations get lazy. People say, just delete the app. But that's not the point. The like button didn't just change social media, it changed social behavior. It taught us to think in metrics. How many likes, how many views, how many followers. And once your brain learns to measure your worth in numbers, it doesn't stop at Instagram. You start measuring everything. Productivity, body image, relationships. Even your own mood starts feeling like something that should perform. And when real life doesn't perform, you feel behind. Not because you failed, because you're comparing your raw life to everyone else's edited output. That's not a personal weakness. That's an environment. A very profitable environment. There's another shift people miss. The like button created a new kind of silence. Back then, if you liked something, you said it, or you wrote it. Now, you tap. And tapping is easy, but it's also shallow. It makes connection look like connection without doing the work of connection. You can support someone with a heart, then disappear. You can care without showing up. And the platforms love that because it keeps everything lightweight, fast, endless. But for humans, relationships are not lightweight. Real support is messy. It takes time. It costs attention. A like button is not support. It's a signal. And when signals replace relationships, loneliness starts wearing a filter. Now the wild part. The like button didn't just train individuals. It trained societies. Because it became a feedback system for public opinion. If a post gets 10,000 likes, it feels like consensus. Even if it's wrong. Even if it's manipulated. Even if it's boosted. The numbers create authority, and authority changes behavior. People say what performs. Politicians design statements like captions. Brands talk like influencers. Even news headlines start sounding like clickbait because the internet punishes boring truth. And the like button is sitting there like a small, innocent icon, watching it all happen. It's not loud. It doesn't force anything. It just rewards certain outcomes until everyone starts behaving like the reward matters. Because it does. So, what do we do with that? Not a lecture, just a realistic move. You don't have to quit the internet. You just have to stop treating the scoreboard like reality. One habit is enough to break the spell. Before you post, ask yourself one thing. Are you sharing this, or are you auditioning? That question alone changes the energy, because once you see the performance, you can choose differently. And once you choose differently, the system gets a little weaker. Not because you won, but because you stopped giving it automatic control. That's the real fight, not against your phone, against the training. At the end of the day, the like button is not evil. It's just extremely effective. It took something human, the need to be seen, and turned it into a product. It took social approval and made it scalable. It took moments and made them measurable. And now, billions of people live inside that measurement without noticing it. We didn't stop living moments. We started performing them. And once you notice that, you can't fully unsee it. If this episode stayed with you, tell us what other systems, ideas, or normal things you want us to examine beyond the surface. Because this channel exists to slow down and look deeper. And if you want more audio documentaries like this, subscribe. Not for the algorithm, for yourself. And in the end, stay curious. See you soon.